Hi guys, German 40, and we're on the monthly chart. And in regards to the monthly chart of German 40, we can see that currently price is at what seems to be a very strong level of support, as you guys can see, right? And previously, remember guys, I'd spoken about how we have this candlestick over here, which is a bearish candlestick with a long lower wick, which in my humble opinion is a liquidity candlestick, which represents liquidity. And liquidity, guys, is money which needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another, right? And at this point in time, guys, I must say that things are not looking so great for this particular index because of what's happening in regards to Germany and the degree to which they need Russia in as far as the country providing them with some resources. So that's had an impact on the economy, and it is quite possible that we might potentially see price push further down to at least this level to trigger all of that liquidity, right? And especially because at this point in time the northern hemisphere is heading into winter at this point, right? Anyway, let's proceed. I'm just gonna actually mark this particular point we have right there, which is support. Just bear with me guys, let's do this. So we can say that more or less this is our support area. And remember guys, just to emphasize, support is an area and not so much a line. I must emphasize this. Anyway, let's proceed, right? So from here, what I'm gonna do is head down to the weekly chart, seeing that I don't really see much of interest on this particular chart, which is the monthly chart. So here we are on the weekly chart, and on the weekly chart guys, we can see that as I said, we are at a very strong level of support, and price seems to be forming what looks like a triple bottom, as you guys can see, or we could say that this formation is a head and shoulders pattern, as you guys can see, although the right shoulder is slightly longer than the actual head, but I think in my humble opinion it is still very much valid, right? So what's currently happening right now is a lot of traders and investors are buying, and that is because they've been taught that when it comes to a support area and we have price touching that support area 3 times, that means that they should be buying on this leg, right? So what's happening right now, as I've said, is that a lot of people are buying at this point, and they expect price to head up at least to this point, right? And what may actually be happening is that a trap may be taking place, because if you recall guys, a few videos ago I spoke about how we have this pattern over here, which is a W structure, and I said to you guys that traders and investors usually buy on that second leg of that W structure, and they place their stop losses just below that structure, right? So we have a W structure with people buying at this point and their stop losses being at this point. So what may actually happen is price may push further down to trigger all of those stop losses and then potentially push up, right? So that's the trap that I'm talking about, that price because of this W structure may push further down to trigger all of those stop losses, and then we might potentially see it push further up, right? To add to that guys, as much as we have this formation over here which seems to be a triple bottom, just also bear in mind that we also have an M formation at this level over here, right? And the neckline of this M formation is yet to be broken, and what may actually happen is that price may break the neckline to the bottom side and then go back to the neckline to test it, and then we might potentially see price move further down to that level that I spoke about on the monthly chart, which is carrying all of that liquidity, right? Which is actually at this point here somewhere, right? And even on the weekly chart we can see that we have a liquidity candlestick at that point, which tells us that indeed the market needs to head down to this level at one point or another. It may not happen now, it may take 10 years, 15 years, or even a decade, or I mean a century for that to happen. Yeah, anyway, let's proceed. So guys, what I'm doing right now is showing you some of the possible outcomes that we may experience in as far as German 40 is concerned. So what else do we see, guys, in regards to this particular chart? At this point, I don't see much, but in as far as buying at this point, just by virtue of having a third touch, I would not be buying at this point, because I need further evidence. I need further evidence and I need confluence, right? From here, what I'm going to do is head down to the daily chart. Let's see, daily chart. Sorry, I'm going to head to the weekly chart. Sorry, we are on the weekly chart, so I'm going to head down to the daily chart. Here we are on the daily chart, right? So what do we see on the daily chart, guys? Let me just fix this. And in fact, before we proceed, I'm just going to start off by just adding my daily channel. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see, daily channel. There goes my daily channel, more or less. There we go, and there we go, right? There goes our channel, right? So what do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of German 40? So previously, guys, I'd spoken about these two W structures, right? This one and this one, and I'd said that they were both holding a lot of liquidity in the form of stop losses just below where they are, right? And I said that we might potentially see price move down to grab the liquidity at this point and move further down again to grab the stop losses at this point, right? And then we might potentially see a W structure, right? That's what I said the last time. So we just need to, as I said, guys, make sure that we see what's happening within the market. And yeah, let's proceed. So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart? Another thing that I can see, which is also very much important, is the fact that we have a head and shoulders pattern at this point, which has a neckline at this level over here, right? Can you guys see that? Right. To add to that, guys, I already spoke about this M structure as well, which also has a neckline at this point over here, right? So like I said, should the market move further down, ideally I would love to see it come back to this level to test it, and at this point I would most likely look for potential selling opportunities, because there's confluence, guys, because number one, we have, as I said, this M structure, right? Number two, we also have this head and shoulders pattern, and they both have necklines in more or less the same areas, as you guys can see. So this would be a very, very strong level of resistance should price push further down and then come back to test that level, right? So let's proceed, guys. In fact, before we proceed, I just want to add a neckline for that head and shoulders pattern. Just bear with me. For now, we're just going to focus on this head and shoulders pattern. This head and shoulders pattern will be better visible or much clearer on the H4 chart. You'll see it in a minute. But anyway, let's proceed. So there we go. There goes our neckline. And then I'm just going to add or rather use the Fibonacci retracement tool just to see if the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern aligns with any key numbers. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. Let's have a look. There we go, right? So we can see that the neckline, which is here, of this head and shoulders pattern actually aligns more or less with the 23, we could say between the 23.6% as well as the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement levels. I'm not so happy about these two levels. They're not as strong as both the 61.8% as well as the 50% Fibonacci retracement levels, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of DAX 40? We also have this candlestick over here. It is a liquidity candlestick, and it tells us that at some point the market needs to head to that point, right? So we just need to keep that in the back of our minds as we continue, because that level is carrying a whole lot of liquidity at that level, right? What I'm going to do now is actually head down to the H4 chart, seeing that I don't really see much of interest on this particular chart, right? But let me just also point out that, can you guys see that this candlestick has closed below this level over here, right? Which means that indeed we might see price push further down because it has closed below a very key level. Having said that, just bear in mind that this whole area is a strong area of support, and as much as I'm saying that, we might potentially see price head up, right? Anyway, I'm just gonna head down to the H4 chart. Let me just fix my channel, or my channel. Let's see. So what else do we see, guys, on the H4 chart? On the H4 chart, remember guys, on the daily chart, I spoke about how we had that M structure, that big M structure, and how we have this pattern over here, which is a head and shoulders pattern. Can you guys see that it is better visible on the H4 chart, like I said, right? To add to this, right, we also have another pattern at this point, which makes this level actually more stronger. We have another information there which has a neckline at that point. Can you guys see that? So should price come to this point, guys, we have plenty of reason to be selling, but we would need further confirmation and we would need further confluence in as far as the H4 chart goes, right? I'm just gonna add another neckline to that point, guys, and I just hope that my lines are not too confusing. What I'm trying to do at this point is to make sure that you guys see what it is that I'm talking about, and that as we head down to the smaller time frames, we don't get confused or forget the structures that we have been speaking about. I'm just going to make it a different color this time around, right? So that's the neckline of this small M structure, right? I hope you guys can see that, right? And as I said, guys, I would love to see price head back to this level, and at this level we might potentially look for selling opportunities. Anyway, before you proceed, let me actually add my H4 channel. So here goes my channel, more or less. I just want to make sure that it is pretty accurate. Just bear with me, guys. Let's see. There goes the channel, more or less, right? So that's my analysis, guys, really, in as far as German 30 goes, or German 40 rather. I just want to redraw those patterns that I've been speaking about, right? On the daily chart, I spoke about how we have this huge M structure which has a neckline at that level, right? And then I also spoke about how we have this head and shoulders pattern which has a neckline at that point, right? And thirdly, I spoke about how we have this smaller M structure which has a neckline at that pattern. So this entire region over here is a very strong level of resistance at this point in time, and should price head back to this level, I think it would be a good spot to be looking for selling opportunities. However, having said that, we would need further confluence, we would need further reasons on the smaller time frames for why we should be selling, right? So that is it, guys, as far as my analysis goes. Peace out. I hope that makes sense.